Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Today we revisit the Hunter Greenard exchange.
What's going on, Luke Inman at Luke_Spimman? Hey, let's go down to the Minnesota Senate floor to Michelle Tafoya. Michelle, what's the latest?
No.
Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. And yeah, no, let's just show up on a Senate floor.
That was my job. Hey, this is a real son at White Left on Football. I'm here at the Shrine Bowl, I guess. What's up?
Skol! It's the Vikings Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Vikings Squad Show starts now.
What's up, and glad you're with us on the Thursday edition of the Vikings Squad Show, streaming live on Locked On Vikings on YouTube. Audio's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Check out Luke Braun, his daily dose of Locked On Vikings, 30 minutes, 5 days a week. So glad you joined us today. You met the Lukes, you met Arif, and I'm Sam Ekstrom. Before the show is over, Brian Flores signs an extension, but it doesn't quite mean that he's locked in. We review the pass rush and the D line, and we'll revisit signing Jonathan Greenard, letting Danielle Hunter walk. How is that looking today? Plus, the much-awaited, highly anticipated Prospect of the Day series returns with our very own Luke Inman, and we have championship game bets to make at the end of the show. And it's a show that is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And hey, this is all part of the #1 sports podcast network. Don't you forget it. All right, Brian Flores. Can we hit the sound? Let's hit the sound.
Do it.
Let's just hit the sound. He has signed an extension to be the Vikings defensive coordinator going forward. We don't know the term unless you guys saw it somewhere. It was not reported by the team. Usually isn't. Pending head coaching searches. So now I'm the biggest Nate Skeelhaas fan in the world. I'm the biggest Jesse Minter fan in the world. Brian Flores has not gotten a second interview, correct? I don't believe he's gotten a round 2. When it seems like the Steelers and Ravens have moved on with their finalists into round 2. Don't know where we stand with the Raiders. Not sure what the Raiders are doing. Don't think he ever got an interview with the Raiders. It looks like he's back.
Just rumor.
It
looks like he's back.
The Steelers is weird because he did an in-person interview, which is what they did. All their whole first round was virtual interviews. And it's like they skipped that with Flores, but they also have worked with him before. He was there
Well, okay,
3 years ago.
Some of that, actually, no, I think for the Steelers it wouldn't matter. But if it was almost literally any other team, I would say that there is a distinction between in-person and virtual for the purposes of fulfilling the Rooney Rule. Not a concern I have with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, who are meeting tomorrow with Anthony Weaver anyways.
Right, yeah. But that is an element to keep in mind going forward if we see this kind of distinction between virtual and in-person, because I believe that implicates the Rooney Rule in some way. Either way, it might just be because he has spent time in Pittsburgh and loves it there. I don't know, right? So that could be it.
It sounds like Pittsburgh, though, is pretty dialed in on the McVay tree. Shula, Skeelhaas, and that would make sense. McVay's tree has been unbelievable. Also, I guess the timing's a little interesting on the Flores signing. Did he sign because he had been, in his mind, disqualified from the other jobs? Like, is this, or is it still on the table? I don't know if we know that 100%.
I'm going to speculate, which we love doing on the show.
Yep.
I would say that actually has nothing to do with it, and I think you just got finalized terms for what being a defensive coordinator would look like in terms of contract more than anything. Because when it was reported, at least the tweets I saw kind of reporting it out and breaking the news and stuff like that, they were caveating, that this does not preclude him from becoming a head coach. Like, this contract is essentially null and void if he decides to. But other than that, he is the DC for the Minnesota Vikings. So it just prevents him from being a DC anywhere, right? And so I don't think progress that he's made in the head coaching search impacts this at all. Again, speculating. I don't have reporting on that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, and I also would imagine he's probably one of the highest paid coordinators in the NFL. I think Fangio is what, $4.5 million, so he's probably $5 million. And I imagine that, you know, we've seen a lot of coaches in this cycle, especially, talk about roster control. We saw the Bills do that in the most aggravating and disastrous fashion. We saw the Giants. Yeah, we saw the Giants do that in a very funny way. Like, I would have drafted Puka Nacua, right?
Have the Wilfs ever dropped a quote, anything close to that in 20 years of ownership? Have they ever given us something real juicy other than their foibles of like bungling the Adrian Peterson press conference?
Yeah, that's when my brain went to the Adrian Peterson stuff, but I don't think they dropped like a quote like that. That was nuts to me.
They were just being they were being so cautious that it was embarrassing. They were not unfiltered whatsoever, and really have never been that I can recall.
Which is the direction that, like, as a journalist, you want them to be as unfiltered as possible. But from an organizational standpoint, you'd rather they err on the side of being so closed up that that's the problem, as opposed to the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a better $5 million being spent right now on this team? I mean, Theo Jackson cost $3.5 million, right? So Brian Flores being $5 million. What is how much is KOC getting paid, by the way? What is that kind of discrepancy look like? What is the gap there from Brian Flores? I'm curious because,
like, first year
I don't know if we know this stuff.
Yeah, we don't tend to. But first year head coaches, a couple years ago, I was looking into this. First year head coaches tend to sign for about 6, and then once you make it past your second year, you're a veteran, and you could probably renegotiate your contract without it being reported because you're not changing the terms. I would imagine he's probably 9 or something like that, but that super pure, like, that's a guess.
Yeah,
for sure, super guess.
I think that's a pretty good guess, and I would guess that at the time he set the market. Now I don't know the Harbaugh contract getting negotiated. Like, you know, if Tomlin goes and coaches somewhere else, probably resets it. It wouldn't surprise me though if the Vikings have a number 1 DC on their books and one of the top 5 head coaching salaries. Let's look at the Viking salaries. So Jordan Mason, 5.8. So he's about Jordan Mason value. I mean, heck of a lot more valuable than JJ McCarthy, 5.9. Jordan Addison, comparable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that we have decided, you know, whatever the wins above
that's
replacement.
the bar.
Jordan Addison
that's where it is.
Yeah, just to find the best guy on a rookie deal, and it's about that.
Player to coach ratio.
Back when I argued that we should give Jalen Hurts the MVP because he was kind of good on a rookie contract.
I do think this keeps the floor high. This keeps the floor high, you know, on an offense that was so abysmal and still went 9-8 this past year. I have so much more faith that with Brian Flores in the building, all right, Harrison Smith is retiring. Cool. I'm going to hand pick the next Harrison Smith. Hey, Tavier Thomas. Tavier. You're Harrison. You're Harrison.
Did you find it?
Let's figure it out. No more
He's the
special
guy
teams
now.
flags. You're just a safety now. That's gonna finding a very niche player to fill that duty.
Obviously, the penalty problems that he had on special teams are not going to translate to when he's playing defense and playing way more snaps. I think that's a good.
Yeah, lack of discipline is over. You're on all the time. You don't get distracted. You don't lose focus because you're on the bench.
Right, exactly. You're on the bench the whole time.
Yeah,
not going downhill now all the time. You're fine.
I do look forward to if indeed Flores is staying. I don't think we're 100% out of the woods. I'm not going to exhale until we know who the head coaches are in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. But if Flores is indeed staying, if this is all what it seems to be, I look forward to this year's who the heck is that guy? Defensive player that turns out to be a total stud. Because there's one every year. It was Isaiah Rodgers last year.
Jalen Redmond.
Yeah.
Who's on the roster now that could be that guy?
Tyrion Ingram?
Yeah.
Oh, nice shout.
Yeah.
Second year leap kind of dude.
I like what I tend to like what Flores does with, like, off the defensive line, the guys that roam around a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Like the big nickels, the flexible linebackers, the safeties. That's where he seems to be at his most creative. So I'm thinking like a Jay Ward. Like maybe more realistically, Jay Ward becomes
Jay Ward
your
was kind of
replacement.
humming at the end of
Yeah,
the
no,
year.
he was
there might be
he was
something to
moving
that.
a little bit. Yeah, he did not like. There
They
was
like
one
him.
game.
You
There
can
was one
tell.
game where he had like 6 snaps and 4 of them were incredibly high impact. And it was like, hey man, maybe we can put a little bit more of that in there.
Yeah, I don't know
my
if it's
guess-
the Theo Jackson tease or if it's real. But
No,
what
no,
if
my guess, an undrafted rookie safety.
I don't rule
Love
it
it.
out. I don't rule
Yeah.
it out. I think like what if they just make everybody a Metellus? Like you've got Ward becomes
Make
a
the whole
Metellus.
play now.
Theo
Make the whole
Jackson
play.
When
becomes
it was like,
make
I
the
want
whole
11
play out of
Antoine
Josh
Winfields
Metellus.
on this team. That's what I want.
Instead of 3 corners and 2 safeties, you've just got 5 DBs, and they all do
Jokers.
everything.
Hybrids. Yeah. How about
Heck,
Durante? So now that we
Yeah.
think, and we're holding our breath here, as Luke said, I don't think we're out of the woods yet either. But Durante Jones, it feels like if Flores does stay, Durante Jones kind of speed dating right now. He's out and about taking interviews as well. I highly doubt if Flores did leave that Jones would too. But the timing becomes so important here in these coaching carousel stuff. That this first 2, 3, 4 weeks after a lot of team season ends, that the worst case scenario obviously would be to start the season off the tracks and lose both those guys. Don't see that happening, obviously, but timing becomes very tricky with a lot of this coaching.
The timing is critical.
Stuff.
Like, how do you think Harbaugh feels learning that he took
Right.
the Giants job right before the Bills job opened up? Right? Like,
Seriously.
yeah. But
Seriously.
I could see Durante Jones following Brian Flores in a world where Brian Flores becomes a head coach, but I doubt it because I think he wants to make a name for himself as a defensive play
think he's
caller.
at that
and it'd be
point.
just
Yeah.
more difficult to do that. And again, speculating, I haven't talked to him, so I don't know that for a fact. But I would imagine he'd want to be in a place where he is known to be responsible for the defense. Also, for our audio listeners, you can't see this, but we are all stalling because Luke Braun is dying on screen and has been muted the whole time.
I thought he was laughing.
Still getting over something. Nope.
I thought he was
sneezing.
laughing. 'cause-
Would you go on a hike
he
in
was,
Utah?
He was losing it, dude.
You okay?
I got lost on a hike in Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Raheem
Too
Morris, rumored as the backfill for Durante Jones, has the KOC connection, obviously, from the Rams 2021. It worries me. I'll be honest. It worries me to hire out of house for that job when I just want the same thing. I want an attempt to continue what happened, what they've had the last 3 years.
The concern I have is and I'm agreeing with you, Sam. The concern I have is that the roster is built in such a unique way that only a Brian Flores, I think, can get anything
Yeah.
out of
You,
this.
you need the versatility of a Belichick style.
I don't know.
defense
There's a ton
with
of,
a lot of
talent on this defensive
yeah.
side, just
Yeah,
in
maybe-
general, right? But
yeah,
Flores
maybe
has
Inman had said it
maximized
a
every
little
drop.
bit more explicitly than I did, but like, yeah.
Raheem gets in the
I mean-
door and he's like, okay, show me the corners. Let's see what we got.
Yeah,
What are we
exactly. That's
dealing with?
exactly what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. It's
All
like
right.
Brian Flores has made corners kind of irrelevant, and
Yeah.
there's not another DC right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. Not great. I think that's I still think that I think it's more likely than not that he is back. Probably a minus 175 at this point. I haven't heard a lot of steam connecting him to the Steelers or Ravens of late. I think he's going to be back. And at this point, it's probably a year-to-year battle now. It's probably year-to-year. We sweat this out and until the end of time. And in 2050,
In
2050, when the lawsuit is complete, maybe he moves on.
When the horizon of infinity stretches out before us and we see all possible futures.
There will be one timeline where Brian Flores gets promoted to a head coach. Let's continue the defensive talk with our defensive line review as we look back on 2025, and that will include a Danielle Hunter, Jonathan Greenard comparison. We are brought to you today by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood Prediction Markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. We are also presented by everybody's favorite Gametime. NFL playoffs are here, and there's nothing like being at the game, especially a conference championship game. The atmosphere,
Gametime,
the crowd noise, the energy. It was 8 years ago that I was at the Philly-Minnesota game, and I saw Kyle Rudolph make a catch, and in the press box, I put my hand underneath the table so no one could see, and I pumped my fist so I couldn't get in trouble. But I was excited. And then it went poorly. But it was great. I've never smelled beer in the air like I did after that game. You can only get that experience if you're at the game, and you need the Gametime app for that. One of my favorite features on Gametime, you see the seat. You're never surprised by where you're sitting. You get the panoramic view. The zone deals help you save money. You pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and the fees are all included up front. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL, that's LOCKEDONNFL, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today and get back to being there live. So glad you joined us on the Squad Show today. Hey, please subscribe to the Locked On Vikings channel. It's up over 10,000 now. D-line review. Where do you want to start? How about here? They were tied for fourth in sacks with 49 this past year. Why don't we give them a letter grade for the year to start? And tell me what your letter grade would have been last year. Do you feel like this was a downgrade from the year prior? I think it probably was, but by how much? Luke Braun, why don't you start?
Are we just talking front four, or are we talking their ability to get pressure at all? Because it's very different.
Well, why don't you tell us your criteria? We're talking about the defensive line, not the pass rush, just the defensive line.
Oh, just the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it like a B-. I think I'm more happy than I am unhappy. There's obviously run defense issues. They did not, when all was said and done, amount to enough to stop the Vikings defense from being arguably the best in the league. So, like, honestly, I feel like that's probably too harsh. I'm going to give it a B+. Like, even Javon Hargrave, who struggled in the run, was like a pressure maven. Jalen Redmond
really
was
good
insane.
pressure producer, yeah.
Dallas Turner took a huge step forward. Van Ginkel and Greenard were still doing their thing. It was a very good group that some teams just kind of dissolved against, including the defending NFC North champion Detroit Lions in a must-have game. Just kind of couldn't handle it. So, yeah, a B+, and the only reason it's not higher is because of those run defense issues.
Okay. Luke Inman?
Yeah, I'd go B. I'd go a solid B. I was going to go B-, kind of talking me into a solid B. I think when healthy, how scary, and we'll get into Dallas Turner a little bit, his development, but when all three of those guys are healthy, plus obviously you got Hargrave, which you mentioned, which maybe he's not here in 2026, but Jonathan Allen as well, the emergence of Jalen Redmond. How formidable, how scary is this kind of unit, I guess, D-line, pass rush, whatever you want to call it, when healthy. And obviously Van Ginkel, Greenard, we'll get into the injuries and things like that, didn't play the full slate like we saw last year, but I think the only reason to dock them, I think, when you get into like a letter grade is like the amount of money that they spent when you talk about team building on those two guys with Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargraves. It didn't feel like they got their money's worth per se when you look at both of them combined. But nonetheless, as far as production goes, especially when all three of those guys, again, pass rushers specifically, were healthy, there's not more than 3, 4, maybe 5 other units that I would take over that unit on paper anyways.
Arif in that B range?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am probably going to go B instead of B+. I think if we, if we think of it in terms of the performance of the unit over the year. And we don't think of the individual players. I think we downgraded a little bit because the injuries really did substantially impact the unit level of performance, right? So Andrew Van Ginkel played extremely well when he was available. Jonathan Greenard played very well when he was available. They weren't always available, and so you end up with, some circumstances where Dallas Turner, yeah, he's playing a lot better than he did last year. He's playing pretty well, but he's not playing up to the level of Andrew Van Ginkel, nor has the ability to play the same role. So I would put it at a B just because you don't have all of that available to you. Plus, at the first half of the year, we didn't get as much Jalen Redmond as we should have, right? And so you don't have a cohesive year-long, season-long performance where if I'm comparing it across these other defensive lines across the NFL, the Houston Texans, who we're about to talk about, the Patriots, the Broncos, I think their holistic defensive line performance over the course of the year was a lot better. And so I'm going to put it at a B, which I don't think is a huge insult when, Braun has put it at a B+, Edmonds put it, it's fine. I expected more, and there's a lot of money put in there, but they were a big part of the reason the defense, especially at the back half of the year, turned it on.
I'm going to say B- and be the Scrooge for the following reason. In roughly half of the first 12 games, which were meaningful games, those were games that you wanted to win to make the playoffs, their run defense contributed in a significant way to them losing those games. They truly did exchange the run defense for the pass rush capability this year. And when you get beaten by guys like Emmanuel Wilson, Kamani Vidal, Kenneth Gainwell.
Hey, Vidal is really good, actually.
Yeah, I can't wait for Luke to tell me who my favorite draft prospect is again, because that worked out great.
Yeah. Hope you pick him up in your dynasty leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, I just was it on the live stream? I was just like, Luke, tell me who my favorite day 3 running back is, and you said, "Come on."
I think it was the live stream. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How many hours were you on? 6, 7?
You said the number.
Uh-oh.
But I believe it was over 7.
Only one of it was spent on Flat Earth, so.
That's not true.
Only one, one, maybe two of the 7 hours.
Flat Earth permeated. We need
ASMR.
We're off the rails. So, Jalen Redmond. I have a Jalen Redmond take. If Brian Flores left, Jalen Redmond wouldn't be as good. He is really good at some of the specific stunting and slanting stuff that Brian Flores asks defensive linemen to do. He's incredibly good at that. But if another defensive coordinator didn't want to be as tricky on the defensive line, I think you would lose a lot of what made Jalen Redmond such a cool player.
Guess how many more pressures from interior players the Vikings had this year than last year. So last year, I'll tell you the number. They had 72 last year.
Okay,
72
I'm going to go
combined.
20 more because Hargrave backed up those
right.
numbers and Phillips did not. Despite Harrison Phillips would have been a better player to have than Hargrave, because pressure numbers aren't the end of it. I'm going to say 20 more because Hargrave was killing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say even more. I'm gonna say 30, almost 2 more a game.
It's somewhere in there. I'll Price is Right it. I'll go 25.
Oh,
it's almost 50. 46 more pressures than the year before.
Wow.
72 to 118.
3 a game every game. Wow.
That's nuts, dude. Well, I guess there's the other elements, right? Because it's Jalen Redmond over Jonathan Ballard, right?
Yeah, Jalen Redmond and Jonathan Allen all were big pressure producers, along with Javon Hargrave when he was on the field.
Here's a stat for you. When they both played, Jonathan Greenard and Andrew Van Ginkel, the Vikings were 5-2.
Who were they playing against for those 7 games?
Oh boy. It was the Bears playoff team, Bears to start the year. Bengals,
playoff team.
Bengals. They actually started 3-0. Yeah, it was Bengals and then Lions. First Lions.
That was an undefeated Bengals team, mind you.
3-0.
Undefeated.
Then they lost a couple. Then I think they lost. Maybe it was Baltimore and Green Bay, or no, Baltimore and Seattle. I think. Then they won Washington and Dallas.
Okay,
But with both of them, not terrible. Not terrible.
Oh, Dallas, that's a good offense.
5-2, Hall of Fame numbers right
I
there.
heard a lot of playoff teams in
Extrapolate
there.
that out.
Yeah.
Baltimore wasn't quite a playoff team, but
The
slouch.
edge pair wins stat, I think, is gonna play some trails for us.
Yeah. I think, Sumer Sports, PFF, they might want to buy that concept.
Yeah.
I've heard guard wins before. Nobody can give us flack.
Mike Zimmer gave us Rashad Hill tackle wins.
That's right, he did.
That's right.
Yep. I love the edge group coming back next year. I love Greenard. I love Van Ginkel. Dallas Turner, signs of life. Signs of life. I'm not ready to proclaim him that he's arrived, but
You're already late, Sam. You were late when you asked us this halfway through the season before his numbers got better, and now that his numbers have gotten better, you're so far behind. The train has left the station. Dude, we are not going to acknowledge.
I really like him as the number 3. Like, do you think that he should
Like a
bump-
DJ Wanham? Is that what you're saying?
I think he's better than DJ
don't-
Wanham.
don't do that.
I will
Don't do
give
that.
you.
Don't do that.
He
Don't
is
do that.
better than
He's-
Stephen Weatherly. He is better than Patrick Jones. I will give you all of that. I think he's a
Okay,
great
hold
number
on.
3.
First of all, I've got a problem putting Patrick Jones on the same level as Stephen Weatherly and DJ Wanham. That's unfair on its own. But also,
You're just listing Panthers.
yeah, you're just listing Panthers. But also, Dallas Turner is playing at a starting level. He's not playing at the level that justifies that's not important to me right now. He's playing at a starting level, and he's playing at a level a lot better than a lot of other edge defenders in the NFL right now. And you just can't be there. And the train has left the station. When he's racking up, the numbers that you want him to rack up, we will not acknowledge you. You're gonna have to put together like one of those Josh Allen apology forms for him.
This would be Arif. This would be a wonderful stat for you to cite in favor of your argument. He was a more efficient pass rusher this year than Jared Verse.
I was going to say more sacks than Jared Verse. On way less snaps.
On way fewer snaps, Luke. Come on.
Yep. Pass rush productivity.
Writer.
Look it up. Love the edge group. I love the edge group. The interior, I think you roll with Redmond. You roll with Allen. I think you can cut bait with Hargrave, elevate LDR, elevate Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, and here's where you backfill. Elijah Williams. Elijah Williams becomes your number 5.
Let's go, baby.
Oh, man.
Maybe more.
We do
Maybe
have
higher.
to do a better job generally, and I mean specifically the 4 of us, of separating out our preseason hype from our regular season takes. We have to compartmentalize.
I disagree.
lot
I
better.
think it's fantastic.
I don't know. Yeah,
We
blend
can
it
just
all
hype
in
up
together.
Elijah Williams in January. I think that rules.
Dude, did he get a promotion at one point like this year? Like he got elevated once?
He did play.
Yeah, he got elevated.
Oh, yeah, he was
did.
in.
Yeah,
he
he was
played
in.
79 snaps, in fact, and he got 8 pressures. That's
a
a pretty
healthy
good.
amount.
That's a pretty good
That's-
race. Oh, hold on.
He played
Hold
kickoffs, too.
Hold on. I'm looking at preseason. Let me try that again. He
same
played
thing.
42 snaps and he got 1 pressure. So there you go.
Yeah.
Is that LDR numbers from last year? Or is that where LDR was 2024?
In spirit, it kind of was. It felt
Okay.
like, yeah, he got in every once in a while. Usually didn't do great.
LDR this year had 175 pass rush snaps, 11 pressures. He was more, in on rundowns. Previous year, played 7 snaps. Doesn't matter. Didn't play.
It would have been pretty cool if LDR was more consistent against the run because his good stuff this year was real good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the.
I know it's a year by year league. Anything can happen with contracts, renegotiating, cut bait. Hargrave, seems to be the one of those A topics. It feels like we're all kind of in an agreement. Probably going to cut bait on, but Greenard and Van Ginkel. Obviously, you got Dallas Turner for at least 2, if not 3 more years. 2026 and beyond. Is it like going into this next year? I don't have the contracts in front of me. I'm afraid to pull up Spot Rack, but. Is it one of those things where it's like 2026 might be the last year with those 3? Just looking at some inflated cap numbers, how big of obviously a mess the Vikings are in right now. Not saying that they're not going to get out of it, but I'm just wondering how long we can keep that core, this 3-man kind of pass rushing trio intact.
Van Ginkel has one more year. Maybe they go year to year with him. Like they signed him to a 1-year extension this past off season. Maybe they can keep that up.
It's just such a luxury to use such a premium first-round pick on an edge and have him be your third guy for more than a couple years.
Yeah,
like
give him the Everson Griffin
building
development
wise,
arc.
Yeah.
Well,
that's going to be tough.
Jonathan,
who are you going to keep, Greenard or Van Gink?
So Van Ginkel's contract is they gave him an extra year already. So this should have been the end of his contract, but they already gave him an extra year, so that's not happening this offseason. And then Greenard's contract feels very made to be restructured this year, where it's still manageable next year if you restructure it right now. And like it doesn't become this like totally unmovable thing, and then you can get that cap hit down. You can help with the salary cap crunch you have right now. So it feels like that is what it's meant to do. That contract is kind of meant to be moved around, add void years if you want to get more aggressive about it and do all that for the next couple of years. I believe the Vikings would view Greenard as a more untouchable piece, and Van Ginkel is, we're going to keep you till you're too slow to be a versatile player.
And would you agree, if you had to pick one, that Dallas Turner better replaces Van Ginkel in this Flores? Yeah, in this.
Yeah. Although I liked it best
you'd
when
have
it
to
was
change
both
the
versatile guys.
Because I don't think Dallas Turner's quite as good as that versatile stuff that we love Van Ginkel for as Van Ginkel is.
I don't think a lot of people are.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, he's not as good in coverage.
Yeah. So you would have to change your approach, but I don't. So long as Flores is the DC, I don't have any concerns about finding ways to make a change work, because it's not like the thing about Flores is not that there's a specific scheme that is working for him. It's that he is finding ways to be aggressive and manufacturing, roles for guys with unique talents that complement that particular approach. And so you'll end up with a different set of unique talents a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now that will change the approach. So, yeah.
Let's revisit the Greenard Hunter swap, and let's do it after a pause. By how much have the Texans come out in front in that exchange? Brought to you today by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, hunting them down online, looking in the mail, did I throw it away? Where'd it go? You can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They'll handle everything: W-2s, self-employed forms, work to get you every deduction. Upload your documents, go about your day, get updates right in the TurboTax app. Huge time saver. Gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate. Get back to your life. It's a stressful time of year for sure. And visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Danielle Hunter was playing in a significant playoff game on, was it Saturday or was it Sunday? Sunday. And he's good. Newsflash, Danielle Hunter, still very good. He has not missed a game in 4 years. With Houston, he has 12 sacks and 15 sacks, respectively. And if you look at his snap load, he's doing it very efficiently. He's playing fewer snaps than he ever did in Minnesota. Major bang for their buck in Houston. Now, the contracts. Oh, and again, Jonathan Greenard, 12 sacks last year, phenomenal. All-pro level. This year, 3 sacks, got hurt. So production-wise, Danielle Hunter winning that exchange without question. The contracts. Danielle Hunter signed a 1-year deal, very, very Gink-like, signed a 1-year extension last year. So he basically is 3 years, $85 million. That's almost $30 a year. Greenard was 4 years, $76 million, $19 million per year. So about a $10 million per year difference. Did Houston still, though, win this swap in a significant way?
I mean, in the sense that production per contract figure, knowing that, players are not efficiency, like you're gonna get less efficient the more you pay, just because it's harder and harder to get marginal gains. From the perspective of just getting production at players who nominally play the same position, yeah, I guess Houston came out ahead, right? But I would argue that it's a win-win. And I think that the fact that they play kind of different roles in these different defenses makes it somewhat tough to do a direct one-to-one comparison. They're both playing very well. They're both playing up to their contracts. And I love seeing how they've both thrived. So I'm not too upset about what could have been. And I'm really happy that Hunter landed in a situation where he has been doing well.
If I remember, the vibe of it was that they kind of got, for the money that they would have paid to Hunter, they got both Greenard and Van Ginkel, which makes it a little bit, feel a little bit more like a win. I don't think you can argue that Greenard is a better player than Hunter, and I don't think anybody's trying to, but they did save that much of resources. Just looking at pressures over the last 2 years between the two, Greenard 127, Hunter 149, and Greenard hasn't been able to convert as many of those into sacks, and then obviously got hurt, so which I don't really hold against the move at all. It feels like a win-win to me. It doesn't feel like Greenard is a better player than Hunter, and so I'm sure Houston is very thrilled about that, but the Vikings, I think, managed to take those resources and make them worth more than the sum of their parts, I guess.
Yeah, not too much to add there. 4 years younger, I want to say, Greenard is as well. 4 years younger. Does that sound right? Also, too, you mentioned, Sam, Danielle Hunter, 4 straight seasons not missing a game. That was a big talking point as well. Granted, he had come off a clean season, but the neck injury was a huge thing. Right. I forget was it a shoulder or a pec?
He tore his pec, had the neck thing. Everybody was very worried.
It's like this dude's getting a little long in the tooth, 28, 29 at the time, and just a lot of money, and deservedly so. Again, one of the best pass rushing DNs in the NFL. But I remember now after you said that, I was like, oh, dude, 4 straight seasons healthy. That was kind of a big talking point when we started to discuss paying that guy $27-30 million a year. And again, at the time, to Luke's point, getting kind of a 2-for-1 with Greenard, almost a Danielle Hunter light, so to speak, and then Van Ginkel as well. Bang for the buck. It felt good. Just given where we were kind of at in a team building standpoint that offseason as well.
I'm not 100% sure I buy into the Ron Johnson opinion on this, which is that Danielle Hunter was not a 3-4 fit because he had a career high in sacks the 1 year he was in the Flores system. But there's probably a little adaptability piece there with Greenard, who's very comfortable in this scheme. But consider this on Hunter. He's 31. He has 114 and a half career sacks. So if he has like 3 more double-digit sack seasons in him, and then maybe like a scattering of sacks at the end of his career, he's top 10 all time. He's above Michael Strahan. He's above Lawrence Taylor. He's coming for Alan Page. Alan Page is 8th with 148.
I was in a group chat the other day where we had this, not even an argument, just a question we were trying to answer. Like, is Danielle Hunter going to the Hall of Fame? Right? Because he's one season away from 120 sacks, which nearly every pass rusher with 120 sacks is in the Hall of Fame. But he doesn't have any All-Pros. He has 5 Pro Bowls. Like, it's a very interesting question. But I think he is, right? Just the volume alone. It helps that he entered the NFL when he was 6 years old. That's helping.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
that helps the longevity. Yeah,
child labor laws were different back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's tough. Yeah,
and you would never mistake him for a child.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
what, that guy's 12. He
showed up and he immediately had
a fighter,
bigger mustache than everyone else on the roster.
Yeah,
Z fighter.
All right, it's time. We've gotten to this time. Luke Inman. Prospect of the day. Woo!
A lot of hype. Thank you, guys. A lot of hype. Let's, I'm starting to think about team needs. It's so tough. Thank you. I don't have I thought there was one more. That's it. I'll be in my trailer. That's it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. How to find the next Kamani Vidal today. No, I was thinking about it. It's so tough. Where do we start this? Because we're going to end up doing 20, 25 different prospects. And I was looking at team needs. Obviously, we're going to get into all that this entire offseason. But defensive tackle, offensive line, there's a couple different directions you could go. But it feels like cornerback. It feels like, when is the last time we've gone into an offseason? Let me ask you this. We felt good at cornerback.
That's a great question.
Well, really, is it 5 off seasons, 6 off seasons? It's always in, or at least it's felt
right?
like.
Probably when they had Wayne's coming back, Rhodes coming back during Rhodes closed era, Mackenzie Alexander. Okay, this is the year Mackenzie gets it.
Yeah.
Terrence, when did Terrence hang it up? Was that
2017?
I think that was 20.
He was only in Minnesota for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, but he hung it up so that Holton Hill would have a roster spot.
I think Terrence was on the really good defenses. I think Terrence, so Terrence, McKenzie, Waynes, and Rhodes would be the last time for me.
And then it was Holton Hill, Harrison Hand, the whole thing.
And
it just feels like the last
all left at the same time. That
yes,
20 off season.
So we are going on off season. So from that, we'll say 6 off seasons in a row. It feels like cornerback is in the top 3, if not even higher than top 3. And this offseason is going to be the same. They've tried using a lot of early round picks. Andrew Booth, Mekhi Blackman. You can go back to Jeff Gladney, Cam Dantzler. Was Mike Hughes a hit? Do we consider Mike Hughes a hit? I don't know. And obviously when those draft picks don't pan out, you're kind of forced to patchwork everything through the free agency, which, as we've seen, is kind of putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, so to speak. It's just not a long-term fix, right? Let alone half the time it's not a short-term fix either. So we're going with a cornerback today. Seems like a little low-hanging fruit. It's LSU's Mansour Delane. And again, I say low-hanging fruit because, almost every mock draft or power ranking, PFF, ESPN, CBS, whatever your flavor is, he's got a first round grade. He's kind of projected right now, and a lot of this is going to change, but right now kind of in that 12 to 20 range. And again, obviously Vikings have the 18th pick, listed at 5'11", 191, probably the best pure cover corner in college this season. Keep in mind, a lot of people's CB1 this year going into this draft is Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. He missed the entire season with a leg injury. So a little quick background. He starts his career out at Virginia Tech, 4-star recruit, starts 4 games as a freshman, ends up getting the full-time gig in 2023, starts to get a little bit of hype and a little bit of buzz. Like, okay, if he has another good season, this guy might be a top 50 prospect. Okay, that's going into 2024. 2024 at Virginia Tech, for whatever reason, just never really lived up to those expectations or that bar. And to be honest, I think a lot of it had to do with him playing out of position. They had him playing a lot of off-coverage zone concepts, which we'll get into. I don't really think kind of maximize what he does best. So anyways, he decides to come back for another year.
Selling him for a Flores defense here, man.
He decides to come back for another year. We'll get there. He decides to come back for another year, transfers to LSU, and just gets to play his more brand of football at LSU, more press man, a little bit bigger body dude. I think he was great as far as in the nation when you're looking at some of these top corners, which we'll get into over the next upcoming weeks. It feels like he was the best cover corner in the country. 32% completion rate allowed, 27.5 passer rating. Allowed 11 pass breakups, 2 picks this year. Didn't allow a single passing touchdown all season. 4 forced fumbles in his career as well, and just a great athlete. We'll obviously get into the combine and things like that as time goes on, but on tape, a really good athlete. Great change of direction. Great route recognition. Click and close, explodes downhill, whether that's in pass pro or run support. Was very impressed in run support as well. And he's just got some feistiness to him. He almost reminded me the games I watched of Marcus Peters coming out of Washington. Arif, I don't know if you remember.
With his coaches? Yeah,
well, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. I think he'll be okay. At least the scouting report says so as of now. I don't remember if you remember watching any Marcus Peters coming out of Washington, but
he was a
feisty.
Pleasure to
dude.
watch. Yeah.
He brought the juice, brought the swag, right? And you want to see that with your cornerbacks. And again, the tape in 2024 at Virginia Tech was not great. It was a little concerning. He got bodied too much was the big thing. He kind of got out physical at the catch point on some jump balls, things like that. Maybe some lack of arm length, which I'm very curious to see what he measures in at, whether it's the Senior Bowl or the combine itself, just the arm length, the wingspan, things like that. Because on tape at 2024, again, got a little outbodied, and the lack of arm length was kind of in question there. So that's going to be a big question mark, I think, for him at the combine and the weigh-ins and all that. But by and large, once he got to LSU, played more press man coverage, a lot of that improved, a lot of that went away. And you can just tell he was playing more confident, he was playing more aggressive, trying to be the aggressor kind of thing. Like he looked like he was trying to be more proactive instead of kind of reactive this year. And I think that just in turn put him in a lot more advantageous situations. So great athleticism, good IQ guy. I think honestly for Flores probably could play just about anywhere, whether that's inside or outside. But more importantly, I think for the Vikings, whether it's this guy or anybody else, hitting on a first-round corner is just something this team is just so thirsty for. They need to inject some youth, some young talent into that room, and finally have a guy that can start building around for the future. So Mansour Delane, LSU, 12 to 20, kind of his range right now. Hopefully, a guy that would at least be in play for the Vikings at 18.
I got
the draft.
I got one question.
Mhm.
I hope that's okay, Sam, that I'm extending the
Please.
segment just a bit.
Go ahead.
One of the reasons I really like Trent McDuffie, despite, what do you have, like 30-inch arms or something like that? He's like 5'10". One of the reasons I really liked him is because he played well against tall receivers in college. And I was not concerned about that. Do you have a lot of, like, I haven't, watched this guy. Do you have a lot of understanding of how he plays against some of these taller receivers, especially at the catch point?
Again, 2024, you're not going to like that tape. He just got outbodied, he got outmatched, a lot of jump balls, a lot of just not being the aggressor at the catch point or the top of the stem. 2024 at LSU, I don't know necessarily, and I'll have to look into the numbers, if he just wasn't targeted as much. I should pull up these BFF numbers right now, but he was a lot more. It was almost just like his mindset changed a little bit. He was almost like he got a little bit more confident. Physically, obviously, he didn't change much. He is a little bit slighter build at 191. And again, maybe a little bit shorter arms. And I wouldn't even go as far as shorter arms as Trent McDuffie coming out of Washington. But he was just a lot better. 2024, for whatever reason, at Virginia Tech, it was clearly his downset. And coming over to LSU.
It's the only tape I'm going to watch. I'm only going to watch the 2024.
Just watch
stuff.
it. See what you think. See what you think.
Number 3 in coverage grade last year on PFF. My concern is that they measure these guys with lifts in their shoes, and that it says he's 6 feet, but come combine, we're going to get 5'10" and 1/8.
Well, dude, Arif knows. We go to the Senior Bowl, you measure one guy, and he's got 31.5-inch arms. Then you go to the combine, it's like, 31.25. What happened, dude?
This is why actually you should only use the wingspan measurements, because the arm length measurements, are you doing pit? Are you doing shoulder? Where on the shoulder are you doing?
Shoulder blade, you're right in the middle.
Yeah. So wingspan avoids a lot of these issues, and then also, as Brandon Allen found out, your bodies change, right? Sometimes you just gain an inch in hand length. In the intervening month. So,
do you think you get like a bad measurement at the Senior Bowl, and then you just pop onto one of those like medieval torture devices and try to get that better?
You know the Brandon Allen story,
longer.
right? Like he got hand
but
massages.
I don't know why it happened.
He got
the
hand massages.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I did not know that.
and so he swears by it because it quote unquote worked. We don't know if it worked. It could just be that the measurement was more accurate the second time, and he happened to get a bunch of hand massages in the interview, right? But that's what happened.
That's a good one, Inman. And by the way, if you're Googling this guy, like I was trying to figure out like what his name is, it's MANSOORDELANE, Mansour Delane. I would like to put you on assignment, Inman, for a future show. So I watched the Natty on Monday, Indiana, Miami, and obviously
Pons? Are we doing Pons?
Pons. I want to know about Pons because he's 5'9", but I think he's a baller. And
5'9", scrappy corner. Oh hell yeah!
James
Yeah,
Madison
he's
guy,
he's
so Arif
perfect.
likes him.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Signetti guy. He's a Signetti guy.
Yeah, he's a Signetti guy.
Yeah, so give me the scouting report on a future show, Mr. D'Angelo Ponds.
You got it.
All
Which,
right.
by the way,
put it on the
they
list.
named a pond after him in Illinois,
Yes, they
D'Angelo's
did.
Pond. Yeah.
Oh, sick. The Indiana story is awesome.
So good.
It's incredible. Does it give me hope for Minnesota? No, I don't think so. But it's really cool. It's really cool. When we come back, bets for the championship round, and whose side are you on in the Baker Mayfield Kevin Stefanski feud?
Oh,
If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring? Indeed's all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post right at the top of the page. Helps you reach the right candidates faster. So instead of struggling to get your job post seen, you don't have time for that. You're a small business. You're stretched for time. You need something quick. You gotta stand out with your posting. Well, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So spend more time interviewing, because that's time-consuming too. Interviewing candidates who check all your boxes, less stress, less time, more results. Use Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. That's Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now. Support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. And check out Luke Braun on Locked On Vikings 5 days a week, 30 minutes. Our signature show on Locked On Vikings. So Baker Mayfield doesn't like Kevin Stefanski. I thought everybody liked Kevin Stefanski. I like Kevin Stefanski, not Baker. Nope. He didn't. I'm still waiting for a call or text since he threw me away like a piece of garbage, was his tweet. That's incredible pettiness. And now they're in the same division. I've got my popcorn ready.
You have to understand that Baker Mayfield is fundamentally, at his core, a defensive back. He just happens to throw the ball pretty well and see the field all right, but he's a defensive back. And that once you understand that, you get the rest of everything he does and how even his inconsistency, right? Like everything kind of just flows from there. And with that in mind, I have a tough time holding it against him when he does stuff like that. Also, with like Joe Thomas like clapped back at Baker, right? And then like other people clapped at Joe Thomas, which feels like a really tough thing to do, I think, conceptually, because like if we're talking about who has kind of the higher ground, it's probably always going to be Joe Thomas.
The moral high ground of Cleveland is.
Yeah. But yeah, whose side am I taking? The spectators. This rules. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, this is all just for fun. I my only take on this is like, well, yeah, Kevin probably regrets that too, because things did not go great at the quarterback position after Baker Mayfield left Cleveland.
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't he dragged around in limbo? Like was on the roster but not with the team, and they were trying to get trades done and they fell through. Wasn't that whole saga going on and he was just along for the ride? Like I'm sure that was a horrible month or two that he was embroiled in. I think Kevin could have picked up the phone. I think Kevin could have massaged that a little more effectively. So I'm going to lay this one on Kevin. I'm taking Baker's side. Come on, Kevin.
It's understandable. I do want to add that Baker, after a good season, had a really poor season when his non-throwing shoulder was like absolutely demolished. And so they were holding his numbers during a season where he could have just shut it down and he didn't. They were holding his numbers against him in that scenario. And so during that, I was kind of on his side. And I don't know if I advocated for him to be a Viking on this or similar shows, but I did advocate that he was going to turn it around. And then in Carolina, he didn't. I felt kind of stupid. Never wrong, just early.
Yeah, I feel like they like part of the reason it was so awkward is because of what the Browns were planning. They were going after the nasty man. And so it was a little tough to talk about that with everybody. So I feel like that's part of why it happened. But I got to think that if you're Baker Mayfield and you watched that crash and burn as bad as it did, and reports out of Cleveland were that Kevin Stefanski was the main driver of that decision. And I think that's part of why he's gone and Andrew Berry isn't. So I got to think if you're Baker, you've enjoyed watching that completely flame out while you rack up division titles in the NFC South.
I think Baker owes the chip on his shoulder to Kevin Stefanski. Really should be thanking him.
He's always had that. Are you kidding me? Baker's had a chip since he's a 2-time walk-on, man. Of course he's always had a chip. This is who he is. He's a defensive back.
Yeah.
The soul of D'Angelo Pons lives in Baker Mayfield. The underdog story. Inman, got anything?
Can't wait to see them twice a year. Should be fun.
Should be fun. Let's make some bets. Championship weekend. This is the assignment this week. We've had 2 different contests. I've got the lead at 674. Arif at 426. Inman 359. Braun 150. I'd like to up the dollar amount actually this week so that everybody has technically a chance to $200 per bet.
You're too
$200 per bet. You're picking 3 yardage props, player yardage props, no adjusted numbers. Let's start with the guy in last, Luke Braun. Snake draft, take it away.
Yeah, so I am going with what treated me well for most of the season, which is what would bring Vikings fans the most pain. Unfortunately, there's only 2 prominent enough former Vikings to get prop bets. So I kind of have to fudge it and also do a Drake May one. So I'm going with Drake May over 30.5 rushing yards, and I closed the tab, so I got to get the
most of them are 114, but go ahead and double check that.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it's 114, but I'm going to double check that.
All right. Inman?
Went chalk last week. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown prop didn't hit. Going chalk again here. Puka Nacua over 91.5, minus 114.
Mine was minus 114, yeah.
Arif Hassan.
I am curious about the former Viking approach here. It may interfere with one of my picks, but I'm not going to pick it yet. Jackson Smith and Jigba over 89.5, minus 114.
So you guys are just going to let Stidham under for me? You just let me take that?
Go for it, dude. Have it.
Stidham under 196.5. I assume that's minus 114 as well.
Very
but I'll
confident bet there. That always works out
Sam, good. He's just going to throw screens. How do you think the Broncos have yards this year, man? It's the same
I can't
offense.
make heads or tails of the Broncos. I'm not touching them with a 10-foot pole. So you go ahead.
Have fun, dude.
This is even better. The line has moved to 198, so I'm actually going to get 198 on it. 198 at minus 114 on Stiddy. For my second bet, we're going to go to Travion Henderson. Did some research on this. His receiving over-under is 5.5 yards. That would have hit in 12 of 19 games this year. And there's a good chance that that's one reception. There's a very good chance that's one reception. He has one reception in like 15 of 19 games this year. So Travion over 5.5 receiving yards. Back to Arif.
I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs under 44.5. Well, you could take the over, man. Who knows? Yeah, you're good.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Okay, under 44.5 at minus 114. The logic here is that I took a look at the last 7 or 8 games that he played, so clearly a lot of deep dive research, and it felt like he only hit the over on this against just genuinely bad defenses, and against good defenses, and in particular defenses whose cornerbacks I personally respect. He hit the under on this. So, he's going to get Riley Mossed.
Inman, let's go.
I'm trying to stay away from that Denver-New England game. I'm going to go back to Seattle. Sam Darnold over 5.5 rushing yards.
No!
Minus 114.
That was mine.
Well, it worked great for me last week.
You love a
your,
good QB rushing line. That I feel like that's an Inman special.
Just takes one.
Yeah.
Jared
It
first,
is
scoops him out of
because
the
that, I
pocket.
mean, the thing that he's saying right now is why it just takes one. He's seduced by just the possibility.
You know,
In
you
his
do
head,
the
he can always
always
imagine how it happens.
receptions. It's like, oh, Puka over 7.5 reception. Well, you got to sit there all game and wait for that.
Yeah.
You don't got to sit there all game and wait for Sam Darnold to rush the ball.
Because if Puka has 3 catches and it's the fourth quarter, you're cooked. If you got 0 rushing yards in the fourth quarter, this could
Still get that
happen.
one.
It is live
Yeah.
the whole day.
Yeah, I think what
I
Inman's saying
can't
is
handle
like
that.
it could pay off in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, any moment. Whereas a receiving line probably waits until the end, and you're going to be nervous no matter what.
Well, and to Luke's point, like it gets to a certain point in the game where it's like, I got no shot now. Like there's one drive left and I need 3 more catches. Probably not going to happen.
I need him to read option for -5 so that you're spinning the whole time.
Text me that when that happens.
Or no. They need to be winning so that he hits the over and then kneels.
Which is always in play. I know
Yeah, with
Patrick
these
Mahomes,
single-digit
man,
ones.
for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Patrick, he burned a lot of people there with the.
Dude, I made so much money on Tom Brady rushing unders for a while until he started sneaking.
We're doing just yardage, right? We're not doing like passing touchdown total props.
Correct.
Just yardage, yeah.
All right. Well, Sam Darnold has to hit an over for Viking fans to feel maximum pain as he waltzes to a Super Bowl. So over 235.5 passing, Sam Darnold minus 114.
And you get one more, Bron.
Oh, and then I get the double back. Yeah, I'll take the Diggs over 44.5. Also minus 114. I do think Arif is right, but I'm doing a bit, and that's more important.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Commit to the bit for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Bron, this is good for you. You needed the opposite side of something because you have to win all 3, and you have to pass, 3 people in the process.
True.
So this helps Arif lose one. Inman, final pick.
Yeah, I got Puka over 91. I'll double dip with Stafford over 253.5 minus 114.
Ooh, correlated play. We love one. I think the only way the Patriots really kind of get this done is with deep ball passing. And so I think that means Keyshawn Boutte. I think we're going to get that over 37.5 minus 114.
Last one for me, had to change, wanted the Darnold rushing. We are going to go instead with Cooper Kupp, 29.5 yards over. He's had 29 or more in 5 of the last 6. Like it to happen again. Playoff time. He's a Super Bowl champion. Cooper Kupp, taking the over. And that is all she wrote. Again, the loser has to front a Super Bowl bet for the group in 2 weeks. So that's what's at stake. The games on Sunday, enjoy them. We'll be back Monday to recap the games, talk about Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, and plenty more. Maybe Brian Flores is officially locked in by Monday on the Vikings Squad Show. Thanks, Arif. Thanks, Luke. I'm Sam Ekstrom. And thank you for watching, listening, commenting, subscribing. Catch you next time.